I ever tell you about the time I went camping in the woods?
No.
Well, okay, so we were there. We went camping the one time in the woods. It was me. It was my grandpa Steve, and then we had two kids. They're both who even cares who they were? They died really quickly. So
What?
it was me and my grandpa Steve, and we were in the camping site in the woods. And I thought we were going to go hunting, but apparently he's like old and senile. So when you say we're going camping, he thinks we mean, you're going to go swimming in the lake somewhere. But I brought a gun because I don't know if there's any crazy people you don't know what's in the woods, yeah? So we go into these woods and I have this gun. And my grandpa Steve, he's like, I'm so old, I hate my life. So I say, Grandpa Steve, I can shoot you in the face if you want, but I'd rather not because we're in the middle of woods and I am really tired and I don't want to carry your dead, lifeless body back to camp. So he goes and wanders off into the brush and I never see him again. It was about that time I noticed this hideous odor wafting through the air.
Okay.
And I wondered to myself, what is this hideous odor I smell? So I go looking through the trees, and all of a sudden I see it. It is a giant furry creature with green fur, and he is covered in slime.
What?
Slime. I am not even joking.
Was he the Philly fan?
He had purple spots all over him, and he reeked really bad. And he was eating potato skins. Like, seriously, there's just a crazy amount of potato skin bags all over the forest. It's like he's crazy littering thing. So I tell him, I says, I have gun. I will shoot you if you do not shut your ugly, stinking, smelly mouth. And he turns to me and he says, because his mouth is full of these potato skins. I take that as a serious threat. So I shoot him. I shoot him with the gun like 142 times.
That's a big clip.
No, it was like one of those like bolt action guns where you put one bullet in at a time.
That's a lot of ammo.
I just kept going on him. I was like, I'm not even caring anymore. My arm hurts. And, my grandpa's gone. 2 kids are dead. What do I care if I shoot another bullet? It's not important. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Was there 144 shots originally?
What? No, I fired them all. I shot every bullet I had at this big furry green thing covered in slime. So after he died, he fell on the ground. He was writhing in pain for a little while after, like 40 of the shots. But the rest of them, he was just laying there dead, after he bled out. So now there's blood and potato skin bags and this stench through the air. And I get closer to him, what's left of him, and I realize he is not the source of the smell.
What is the source of the smell?
That I'm getting there. I followed it through the woods a little bit farther.
But what was the creature?
The creature he had a name tag on. It said, "Hi, my name is Albert."
Albert?
His name was Albert.
I don't like where this is going.
His name was Albert. I think he stole it.
Okay.
Because it looked like the name tag was like a popcorn bucket. So either he worked at the movie theater or he killed a guy from a movie theater and he took it from him. I am not exactly sure.
Okay.
So I walk through the woods a little bit farther on and I get to the very bottom of this cliff.
Okay.
And as I'm at the bottom of this cliff, all of a sudden, darkness. It's a total eclipse of the sun. And I look up above me towards the sun, and what I can only describe as a deflated circus tent is falling down at me. It's coming, I start running, I get maybe 50 meters away from the center of this, and the wind shifts direction. And this thing falls right on top of me, and it's like furry. It's got like fur all over it, so it's not a circus tent, but I imagine it's got to be something that big, yeah? So what I do is I start crawling. I think to myself, I have 2 options here. I can get out from under this furry thing that's covering me, or I can start an internet travel business. So I sit down and I get out the pen and paper and I write down the pros and cons list. and I'm leaning more towards...
While you're
I'm
crushed.
leaning more towards this internet business because, it's like you can help people out and you get some money back. But
Yeah.
then I write over in the pros list, getting out from under thing means I don't suffocate and die. And that's pretty high up on the list. So
Yeah.
I get out from under the thing, and I finally realize what the stench is.
What is it?
Dead cat.
Dead cat.
Dead cat. I don't even know how this cat could get this big. It's enormous. Like it could fill up 3 rooms of your house. It's that big. So I get out from underneath it, and I get on my cell phone, and I call up my grandpa Steve, and I say, "Hey Steve, did you know there was this dead cat thing over here?" And he tells me no. He doesn't, because he's someone else. So I'm like, okay, we need to meet up. We need to meet up somewhere and figure out what to do about this cat thing. And he says, well, maybe you can fold it into a tiny, like a little parachute bag. From my days when I was a parachuter in the army, I remembered I had my bag with me, so I put the cat corpse in this
How
bag.
big was the bag?
It's like, if you've ever seen, like, a car, it's like the bag you would put over a car to keep the snow off of it in the winter. And it has my initials on it, too. It says A-N-Q.
And
Those are my initials, A-N-Q. So
Okay.
we pack up this cat into this bag, and I take it to where my grandpa Steve is.
Okay.
And Steve, he tells me what we need to do is call up the Natural History Museum in New York City.
All right.
So we call them up and we tell them, look, we found the remains of an ancient flying cat creature.
Okay.
And they tell us we have to be joking at them. So we say, no, we're not joking. And they send out the helicopter, like one of those big cargo helicopters, like that have like 25 rotors on them.
Okay.
And it comes and it picks up the cat, and it takes the bag with it too. And I'm like, excuse me, helicopter pilot man, I want that bag back because it's got my initials on them. But up in the helicopter, he just says, woo, woo, woo. I can't even hear him. I think he took my bag away forever. I haven't seen it since.
Really?
And then we called up the museum and we're like, hey, you need to get your helicopter pilot guy back here so we can get my bag. And then my grandpa Steve goes, look, just let it go. Let it go. We don't even know what they're going to do with the bag. And I'm like, at this time, I notice how hungry I am. I'm really kind of hungry. So I tell my grandpa Steve, do you have any food to eat? And he says, yes, I do have food enough to feed 2 people. So we sit down, we make a little campfire, and he gets the food out of his bag. And it turns out it's the 2 kids.
It's the 2 kids.
He killed them and we were going to eat them for supper.
What?
It's terrible, and I didn't even ever know their names or where their parents were.
They're not your kids?
They're not my kids. I don't have any kids.
That's wrong.
Yes, like I'm not even married.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very terrible.
I see. Well, what happened? Did you actually eat the kids?
I didn't eat the kids. What
No?
we did was we called the Natural History Museum again, and they sent another helicopter because we told them this time we had found an ancient underwater dog.
Dog?
And they were like, we totally need this dog. So when they sent the helicopter, we took the 2 kids' bodies and we threw it up into the helicopter and it crashed. And then we ate the pilot.